Hello everyone. This is going to be a little bit different reading than normal. This is going to be a yearly overview reading for 2023 that I'm hoping will serve you to be able to reference back to as we look in depth at each of the months throughout the coming year. So everything here in this reading is going to be the major themes of each month throughout 2023. This is also the first reading where I'm offering an extended, where we dive deeper into each individual month. Again, these are all major themes, not like the small details of what's going on, but more of the major themes that you're working through in each of these months. So I'd like you to take some time to kind of sit with the piles and feel what it is you're most drawn to. For most readings, I say that it's okay to be drawn to more than one pile, do your own thing, and that's always true. But for this reading, more so than most, I do feel like there will be one particular pile that is really laying out the energies for you for the year. So first of all, we have pile 1 with this aqua aura quartz crystal. The second one we have here is pile 2, which is not a crystal. It is a random pirate medallion, just because pile 2 kind of felt like it wanted to do its own thing right there. So I'm just going to go with it. Pile 3 is this pretty little opal that's almost hard to see in the center of the card. It's interesting that the first card that came out for pile 3 was this kind of diamond background shape. And so this really beautiful crystal fits it just fits so nicely into the center of there. It just kind of blends in. It's really beautiful, just adds like that little bit of shine to it. So take a moment to sit with these cards, please. See what is resonating with you for 2023. Pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. And as you go through and you watch this, I'm also going to be linking back to this video throughout the year so that as we dig into more detail each month with the specifics of what may be happening, you might be able to get a little bit better understanding, a little more of a customized perspective as you're able to compare and contrast that to the larger lessons that you're going to be learning. So thank you so much, and I will see you in each of the pile readings. Just go ahead and use the chapters down below to jump to whichever pile you've picked. And if you're interested in the extended version with a little more detail as well, there's going to be a link to that down below. This is the first month I'm trying it out, so I definitely want to see how you guys feel about it and if it's something you're interested in. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your Wheel of the Year reading. This is going to be an overview for you of the biggest energies, the deepest lessons that are awaiting you in 2023. We're going to start this out with the month of January, where you have the card of the Swan. The Swan is a card of deep creativity and of being connected to your inner world. So the theme of the month of January for you in 2023 is going to be going inwards and finding that creative spark within. Now, this doesn't have to be creativity in a typical sentence, like you don't have to suddenly become an artist overnight if that's not what you're drawn to. Everyone has a form of creativity that they bring into this world. Really, this is about going inward, taking the time to go inward and find your light, find your gift, find what it is that you excel in, that you shine in. What area do you shine, and how do you bring that into the world? That is your message, your goal, your energy for January of 2023. Now, as we move through the wheel into February, what's waiting for you next here is abundance. It's really interesting as we walk around the wheel to see how this progress changes, evolves, and grows. These are the energies that are laid out for you. Take time in January to look inward, to slow down, to find your light and to focus on that. And through that, it brings you abundance in the month of February. It's finding and trusting that inner light in January, where once we reach February, your main theme is going to be feeling, accepting, and tapping into the abundance that you have created through that connection. Now, as we enter into March, we have the tier. The tier is a tool. Each of these cards are from different decks, you may have noticed. Some of them represent spirit animals or essences that you are embodying. Some of them represent herbs and plants, the harvest, that are connected with these meanings. Some of them represent archetypes, which can be tools, personas, places. Some of them will represent powerful energies or outside deities and influences. Some represent emotions, and some represent higher truths in the world. Now, this card in March, we've gone January, February, March. This card for March is a tool. It's an archetype tool for you. Now, the drawing of the tier may mean that there is an event in March that causes you sadness, that there is a time of sadness that you have to walk through. But there is an alternative interpretation of this as well. So this is going to go different ways for different people because, again, this is still a general reading. So it's a connection of energies, but the specifics of those energy patterns may be different for different people. For some of you, you will experience some form of loss, change, or sadness in March. This is something that, although it is difficult, it is something that you are meant to go through for whatever reason. I never know the reason for loss. None of us usually do, especially at the time that it happens. Sometimes it's very hard to see that there is a point and a purpose when we are in a place of sadness and despair. But there is. It is there for you in the future, and it will help fuel you forward. Now, this might not mean, again, there's one path where this might be an actual loss or sadness event. There is a second interpretation of this, a second group of energies, where this is going to be more of an introspection that comes from the growth that you've experienced in the last 2 months. When you take time to look inward and find your inner light, and then you experience this growth and this abundance from it, and this burst of joy, this realization that what you've hoped for inside is possible. There is another part that comes from that, and that's where you have to let go of the things that were holding you back from this previously. So for the second interpretation and the second group of people for this card in March, you may have to look at what was holding you back from this abundance before. You may be come face to face with the things that were stopping you from following that inner light, from pursuing it to its fullest extent. You may have to take an honest look at things, patterns, habits, places, people in your life that you may need to let grow if you want to let this light, this abundance, this beautiful, overwhelming growth and feeling within continue. You may have to make some logical, rational choices of what you need to get rid of what you need to shed, of what you need to let go, that's going to allow you to move forward. There is a third interpretation for this card. There are 3 groups now, 3 pathways that you may individually walk in the expression of this energy in the month of March. And that is dealing with the past. That means that the loss that you are feeling this month may not actually occur in this month. It may very well be a loss from the past. Something dear, something deep, some sad event, some trauma that you have gone through. And this month, March of 2023, is the month that you allow yourself to sit with it, to process it, and to feel it in order to let it go. So while we have a pretty stable pattern for January and February, there's 3 main paths that I'm getting through March. This is just going to depend on yourself, your situation, and where the energy is going. But either way, March is going to be a deep time of reflection. It may not be an easy month, but it's going to be an important one going forward. And as we move forward in the wheel, you will see why. All right. So this is the first quarter of the year. Introspection and finding your light. Feeling the abundance and the possibilities from that. And then as we move to the end of the first quarter in March, realizing what you will need to let go of, or working through a level of sadness, darkness, and grief, that it is time to sit with, that it is time to be shed and overcome in order to move forward into what's next, into this path in your life. Now we move into April. The card for April is Will. And this deck, when I pull this deck, I use this one to represent emotion. So April may be a more emotional month for you, but it's going to be a powerful one. This is all about decision, about choice, about you are in control and able to affect your world. Now, you've been sitting subconsciously within yourself with what you need to do, with what you need to change, with what you need to let go of, with all of those thoughts and feelings in the previous month. In March, you sit with it inside. In April, this is when this interior thing that you've been dealing with becomes exterior, and you decide what changes you will make in your life based upon this. You take back your power from this situation. You reform your plan, your outlook, your vision on your life, and you begin to make it so. And I say begin because things don't happen instantaneously. This is an important, powerful month for you to start making those changes, making that inner world become your outer world, setting that intention, taking those actions. And it is the start of a beautiful, beautiful journey. And then we will move into May. In May, there are two things that are going to be happening. This card, the card that was drawn for the main theme of May, is a card of Kali. Now, this is a card of outside influence, of outside help, of help from a higher deity, of help from a higher realm. Whatever you believe in, whatever your beliefs, this is assistance from something greater than yourself. So as you have made your decisions, as you have begun to enforce your will, to trust upon your will, to know that it is okay to shape the world as you want it to be, to overcome the things in life that were holding you back. This is the card that helps you with that. So in May, you will have powerful divine assistance. Kali Kamasa Nasini is the ultimate spiritual weapon. This is the power that dissolves darkness so that the light may shine. This is the Kali that consumes, devours, and eats the darkness within and without. This is a card of taking away your sadness, your guilt. This is a card of overcoming those who would seek to stop you, would seek to move against your will, who would have bad intentions for you. But it's not a malicious card. It doesn't bring malicious ill intentions towards them. Truly, it devours the dark in all forms so that the light may shine through for all who are involved. So while this may be a difficult month in May, you may be facing a lot of resistance from outside yourself in the month of May, you will also have support and guidance and a divine and unbelievably powerful level of it. Which leads us into June and the spirit animal of the lamb. The lamb is your innocence. So, we have just gone through a a massive change, a massive burst of power and will and self-expression and strength. And June allows you to bring back some measure of softness. June is a balance and a relief and a sigh of fresh air for you. You will be supported by softer energies. You will be supported by divine innocence, and it will allow that beautiful divine innocence of your soul to come back into expressions. There are times when we must express the forceful, the harsh, the firm, the strong parts of ourselves. But there are also times for softness and grace. And June is a month of reprieve for that area of softness and grace within you, to let you know that that is not devoured. Just because you need to call in fierceness, you need to call in strength, the softness, the gentleness, the love in you is not devoured by this. It is protected and it is allowed to shine. And in June, you will be allowed to shine, and you will have others come into your lives, that have soft, gentle energy that shows you a beautiful, more gentle nature in this world. This is a huge transition point during the year for you. Oh, a huge transition point that is bringing you back through this difficult, more forceful, willful period into a measure of softness and ease. And now the journey continues. We've gone through the first quarter of the year here, and now we've gone through the second, ending with June. As we enter the third quarter of the year with July, we come to the spirit animal of the owl. Now these are all reflecting a deeper inner state of what you yourself are becoming, and the owl is wisdom. Having walked through this path, this very intense path in the first half of the year, there's a lot that has happened and a lot of ways that you have changed already through this first half of the year. July is when you stop and you integrate that level of wisdom. You find that measure of balance between force and peace, between sadness and abundance, loss and joy. You are able to be more discerning. You are able to understand and see the connections. This is going to be a month of reflection, looking back and realizing the reason for the path that you just had to walk, for the things that you had to overcome and the experiences that you undertook. It also gives you a glimpse of clarity and insight from this point on out. I encourage you, Pile 1, to come back to this reading in July specifically. If you don't feel called to come back before then, come back in July. Because not only will this be the timing where you can see the reason, the deeper message, what you have learned from the 6 months behind you, but you will also be able to see more clearly what the path ahead has in store and how and why it is laid out that way for you. Oh, all right. Moving into August. August is the one month of the year where you had 2 main cards drawn, Pile 1, 2 main cards, which means that August is going to be a lot of energy for you. This whole year is a lot. There's a lot of growth and a lot of change that happens throughout the course of this year. But August is going to be the month where you feel the most action, where you feel, where you just feel the most. You just feel the most in August. There's a lot happening here. Don't know what all it is. It's going to be a lot though. The camel. Again, this is spirit animal card. This is your inner world. This is the knowledge that you are embodying. And the camel is perseverance and balance. It could be linked to the card of temperance in the tarot, balancing fire and water. The camel holds its stores of water, of cool water inside to battle the scorching heat of the desert. And it does it with grace and a gentle, calm, stable pace. The camel is perseverance and balance. And your other card, your card of harvest, your card of sowing, this is lemon or cleansing, which is coming to you in this month. You are going to be using this knowledge, this intuition that you gained in July, and you're going to be very discerning in your life in August. August is going to be a month of action, of balance, and of cleansing, where you are going to be making a lot of conscious choices about what belongs in your life and what no longer belongs in your life, about where you will give your energy and where you will withdraw and take your energy back. What is best for you, what is best for others, what is best for the collective, what pathway you are going to create moving forward in your life. There's a lot of work to be done here. There's a lot of work to be done in August, but that work is so important and foundational and necessary for your balance and your growth. You need to find that balance and discernment. You need to cleanse and get rid of what no longer serves you, so that you can move into the energies that are planned for you going forward and moving ahead. We enter into September. September is the vow. Now, once again, this pathway is split. There are going to be two very strong different interpretations for this card. Just one moment, let me get a drink here. Lots of talking. This is a big reading, and there's a lot of energies and a lot to say here. So in the month of September, you are going to be, there's two different pathways here. So the first one we're going to address, the vow is your word, your intention, what you say yes to. So in this month, you are called in September to be very careful and, again, discerning about what you say yes to in your life. When you give your word to something in September of 2023, there are repercussions. Now, that doesn't mean to be afraid to say yes, but it means to give your best yes and to not be afraid to say no. Again, this discerning, you're going to really be carrying this lesson, this discernment from August. This is why I say this is so important. This is probably why two cards decided to fall out for August, because this prepares you to make the best decisions in September. September is where, August is where you clear out the space. And September is where you decide what you will give your energy to going forward, what you will say yes to, and what is not for you. You will be making very actionable decisions this month. And you will be making commitments this month. Even if it doesn't seem like a big thing, any yes that you give this month, anything that you give your word on, is going to have a deeper resonance than it may at other times. So that is true for everyone in the month of September in pile 1 here. There is a side path over here, a side group of people. This won't apply to everyone. You'll know if it applies to you. Even if you don't at the moment, you might later on, but there's a side path of people, not everyone, that this will apply to in September, and this does involve a romantic relationship or partnership. Now, this could be a business partnership, but for most people, I am feeling romantic relationship. Very close interpersonal partnership, and some sort of connection that is initiated in this month. So that is a very strong possibility for a subset of people in this reading. Very, very strong, and also supported by what's to come ahead if that is the pathway for you. It won't be for everyone, that's okay, but if it is, it is. Okay, now we have gone through the third quarter of the year. We enter now into October and into the fourth quarter of the year. In October, we have the apple with continuance. Continuance, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Continuance? That's continuance. Wow. I couldn't talk there. Okay. Yeah, sorry, only human too, guys. So, continuance in October with the apple. This comes back again. You're seeing the pattern that's being laid out here. This is all connected. This is all a pattern. This is a spiral. In September, like I said, what you say yes to in September matters. What you say yes to in September will resonate outwards. Continuance. It will resonate into October, for better or for worse. If you say yes to too much in September, if you overcommit yourself, if you are not discerning with your vows, with your words, with your commitments, then you may find that you are overwhelmed in October, that you are kind of forced into this continuance of what you have committed to that maybe wasn't the best considered. Hopefully, you went through, consulted your wisdom, took your time for cleansing and balance, and made sure to only give your best yeses throughout this course of time. Again, this is going to be a split. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. You decide. You decide this. This is all your choice and your journey, and there are no wrong answers. If you need to put yourself through a cycle of being overcommitted to learn not to do that again, that's okay if you've done that this time around. I myself am one that have had to repeat that lesson many times. Hopefully I'm learning it, I'm getting it, because it's a difficult one for me. I circle back around to it frequently. But hopefully that's not you. You haven't done that, but even if you have, it's okay. But you are going to have to see something through to the end, even if it's more difficult, even if you've overcommitted. There's going to be something where you have to kind of push and see this through this month, through the month of October. Now, I will let you know, in November there is a reprieve. It doesn't mean you have to always be committed to this, but you may have to see through to a certain extent until you can bow yourself out, step back, realize that you've overcommitted, and readjust. But if you did that, October will be a time that you kind of have to push and see that through. It might be a little bit rough. The other side, the other path of energy, like I said, this is a general reading, and many times you choose which pathway you would like to take. You can choose it consciously, you can choose it subconsciously, maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. But if you said your best yeses in this is September. If you said your best yeses in September, if you were discerning, if you did your cleansing work, if you used your intuition, if you followed through in all the right steps, then this continuance that you've created in October will be beautiful. It will not be overwhelming. It will be a harvest. It will be the harvest that you have been longing for deep within your soul. If you have said your best yes, if you've cleaned out what you no longer need, what is allowed to grow and continue and prosper and be harvested in October will be the best of what you could hope for in this year, in 2023. It will be beautiful. And that energy that you have said yes to will be allowed to continue and to build and to grow. And as I say that, we're going to come into our last 2 months of the year of 2023 with November. Now, we talked about different paths, especially through September and October. In November, the two different paths that you may have walked through this time period, through September and October, will determine how this energy is perceived for you. Whichever way it's split here, these are that's going to determine which way this affects you. And this is the card of Heavenly Mercy. This deck is the Crystal Aura deck, I believe. Let's see. Crystal Mandala Oracle deck. So this card, this deck has archangels, higher spirit guides, crystals, mandalas. It's a lot of higher level energy that is all tied together. So when we draw these cards, especially with this being the card that is your theme for the month, this is a card of the highest power and the highest truth coming through for you. So I want you to know that as much as you have gone through or will be going through in 2023, November and December are going to be divine months for you. Absolutely divine. This is what all of this was building up to. If you overcommitted, if you did not give your best yes, and you had a difficult October, November brings you that heavenly mercy, that soft ability to bow out. It's okay, whatever path you took. If you feel like you didn't make the right decision or you're not happy with the decision you made here, if you struggled through this month, November is the correction. It's the mercy. It's not a punishment forever. It's just a small lesson to learn. And in November, you will be granted that divine mercy, that easy ability to bow out. You'll be given that second chance to step away from the areas where you overcommitted, to readjust, to find your balance again. And this is also where those two paths will come back together and find that balance. Heavenly mercy also goes for yourself. So we're going to take a little bit of a jump back here into more of the beginning of the year, most specifically into March, into whatever this is, from this month, the energy from this time frame. There will be an echo of it here, and the echo will be of healing. This is going to be a great deal of healing that you go through here, but you're going to take some time to reflect and come back to it. You're going to heal on a deeper, greater, and more divine level within yourself in November. I apologize. I've got my dogs here today. Give me just one moment. Sorry about that, pile 3. Got dogs here today, and we're getting ready for Christmas, so they're pretty sure that the mailman is plotting to destroy us. But we're protected. Don't worry. We are safe from the mailman, guys. All right. So we were on this card of Divine Mercy for November. This is going to be, Heavenly Mercy for November. This is going to be for yourself as well as for others. There's also a third path here. This year has taken you on an amazing journey of personal and spiritual growth. Now, if you are someone who is into energy work and who is actively working on their spiritual growth, this next message is going to apply more directly to you. If you're not, then it's fine. This may apply more on a level of personal growth, and you may experience it more unconsciously. But if you've been intentionally going through a period of spiritual growth and development, then you will experience this more consciously. As our light and our vibration level rises, as we become more and more powerful inner beings, we become more and more the greatest versions of ourselves, as we become more and more aligned with that. And we become more powerful in the world. Our light is able to extend further and further, and to affect more and more people. Sometimes, though, as we're learning to be the best versions of ourselves, no one's perfect. We have those, backslide times where we may lash out. We may act in a way that we're not proud of later. This card is basically giving you a level of grace and saying it's okay. The divine knows right now where you're at in your growth. It doesn't expect you to be perfect. It is here for you and helping you through this time period. And so the times when you mess up, as long as you recognize that and learn and grow from it, that's all you're asked. The effects of that on other people will be mitigated. There will be protection there, and the same will come from you for you. Those people who maybe don't understand the new path that you're on, the new choices that you are now making. There's a level of divine mercy that is given out for them as well, where the experience will be softened for them. There will be something that is helping to work. We may not see the effects of this right away, but there is something divine that is helping to work in the background to soften and mitigate those influences. Now, with that, we come to December and the end of the year of 2023, where we have the card of divine perfection. This is probably the most beautiful, the most beautiful and radiant and blessed card that you could have chosen from any of these decks. This card in December is a gift for you. What happens for you in December of 2023 will be exactly as it is meant to be. This is a card of reflection on all the ways that you've grown, on everything that you've done, and all the ways that you've grown in this last year. It's a card of looking forward and dreaming of everything that you have to become, and of sitting in a space of gratitude for the good, for the bad, for the difficult, for the easy, for the lucky, for the challenging. You are called in December to sit in a place of gratitude, to calm yourself, to calm your inner world within, to calm those waves, to meditate, to reflect, and to be grateful. And what a beautiful, beautiful end to a powerful and dynamic year, Pile 1. Thank you for joining me for this reading. There is going to be my very first extended version. I'm going to include a link to that. So if you want to go deeper into what each and every one of these months holds, each of these cards is just the overview. We can go deeper and explore into each one of these for you for the year. And that is going to be in my first extended offering. So there will be a link to that if you're interested. If not, that's fine. I hope that this is useful to you. Please let me know in the comments how this resonates for you, especially if this ends up being, as I hope, something that you will come back to and reference as we go through our individual months of the year, and see how this plays out in your life. Thank you so much for being here today, Pile 1. Bye. All right, hello Pile 2. We are here to unpack what 2023 has in store for you. So if you've chose this pile, I'm going to assume that you're already kind of feeling this. You kind of already have a sense. 2023 is going to be a very powerful, a very impactful year for you. There are times when it will not always be an easy one. We're going to start off with January. At the time of the recording, this is right around the corner, and for January you have the card of the tarantula. What this means is that you are at a crossroads of life. Something is holding you back from your higher purpose. There is a change or a decision that you need to make that you're struggling with. It's not an easy one. January is the time period where you are going to have to face this struggle. And the decisions you make, the pattern is laid out. The energy is here. The path is similar, but the decisions you make in this month of decisions, will set the tone for how easy or how difficult the rest of the energies of the year are for you to work with. There are going to be ups and downs regardless, because you are going through a major shift in your life at this point in time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. There's no easier way to say that. It's not a bad thing. It will turn out much better in the end. But there will be ups and downs and high points and low points along the road, just like with everything else in life. But 2023 will shape you in some way. The decisions you make right here in January, whether, and this specifically involves whether or not you will follow this true calling, you will make the decisions that are true to what is deep in your heart, or whether you will let yourself be sidetracked, pulled astray, stopped in fear. Either one of those paths is okay. Any path that you choose to walk in this life is okay. We can walk our path any way that we choose, and it is not a judgment of good or bad. But the reason I like to teach about energy, the reason that I enjoy doing these look-aheads, whether it be with tarot cards, oracle cards, astrology, whatever it may be, is that the energy is there, and you can choose to work with it in whatever way you want. The more informed you are, the more likely it is that you can make a choice to work with the energy in a way that is more harmonious and a little bit easier to navigate. So right off the bat, we are starting off strong in January. You've got some big decisions that you are going to have to make, and this reading is asking you to follow your heart. Because although you will still run into obstacles along the way, you will work much more smoothly with the energy. If you do, than if you fight against it or if you let fear hold you back. You will still be on your path, either way. But you can work with the energy you are given, or you can fight against it, and that's your choice. Neither is right or wrong. We're going to go ahead and move on into February. Basically, in January, big choices to make. In February, we have creation. Now, ideally, you have chosen in January to make steps towards your inner light, your passion, your inner calling, towards something that you feel deep in your heart needs to be done. That you are moving towards that decision you know that you need to make. But either way, this is going to be a time of you creating. If you act in January out of fear, then what you will be creating in February will be a survival mode. That's okay if that's the path you choose. But if you make decisions in January out of love and light and trust, what you will be creating in February is the best of yourself. You will be busy. You will be active. You have a very active month ahead either way. But the light that takes on and the form that it takes is up to you. Moving on to March. In March, we have Queen Ogna. A brilliant solution is on its way. In March, you will be met with a challenge. Regardless of which path you chose to take, there will be a challenge to it. Either decision comes with a challenge at this point. But you are also being given a solution to this challenge. You are being divinely guided and you are being divinely blessed. This card, Queen Ogna, is part of the Dragon Fate deck. This is a powerful spirit of protection that is here with you to help you through this time period, through this transition. Follow this light, follow this solution. Trust this intuition that you are given in the month of March. In April, this card is a form of Kali, but it is a beautiful one of growth and light and heaven, creating heaven on earth. This is one of the gentlest, most beautiful forms of this deity, of this higher power. In this month, this is telling you, again, this is extending protection. It is not a coincidence that you have two very powerful, higher protective energy cards coming out in consecutive months. Whichever direction you choose here, there will be a time of protection to help guide you through the difficult parts that will come from that. There will be love and there will be light that will be sown in this month. If you made a decision to move in fear in January, in April, you will be given a chance to reevaluate, to refocus your efforts, and to regrow. If you made a decision towards light, even though you will have run into obstacles, you will be supported in that growth, and you will see more growth in this month than you could have previously expected in April. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to May. In May, we have the Underworld card. May is going to present challenges. It's going to present things that we would rather not see, that we would rather not experience. There are going to be difficulties that arise yet again. We have been guided through this and given light and support to prepare us for this time. But pile 2, this will be shadow work. The best way that you can work with this difficult energy is going to be addressing your own shadow work during this time. When we come out of it in June, we have a 2-card spread. June will be a very powerful month. It will feel like there is a lot happening in June, even though there are a lot of powerful energies. 2 cards being drawn for this month is showing that this will feel like a lot. And it's interesting that these 2 cards seem conflicting. First, we have the desert. After walking through the underworld, after walking through the shadow side, you will feel depleted, especially at the beginning of June. You will feel a period where everything is burned away and there is nothing left. But you will come to a realization that what is burned away is what you no longer needed, and that you now have the ash, the fertile soil, to grow and to have abundance for what you truly desire and are meant for in this world. At some point in June, although this will be the start, you will realize that happiness. There will be a change that comes. You will see the reason that you had to walk through this path. You will see a reason for the things that you had to get rid of in order to make something greater grow. June is going to feel like 2 months in one. There's going to be a lot happening. There's going to be a major switch that happens. And it's guiding you into the light. Oh. This is the first 2 quarters of the year. As we come to the second half, the 3rd quarter of the year with July, we have the crossroads of destiny. You've had a lot of this year already. I feel like if you had a keyword for this year, it would be crossroads of destiny. Because this is repeated so much throughout your reading. July will be the time when the choice is truly made. January is the start and the initiation. Like I said, there will be a chance to pivot several months in April, but July will be the true turning point, the true essence of change, the true place in time, the true point in time when you can choose to walk the road that you were meant to. This decision is here for you in shining light in one of the highest power cards that we have here for you to make. Make your choice in July wisely and according to your heart and your intuition. August, we have the Firefly. the fleeting light of inspiration, a burst of understanding of something makes sense. There are two ways this can go. If you made the decision to follow that light, to follow that intuition in July, then this burst will be the clarification for you. This burst will help you understand. If you made a decision that was maybe not ideal, maybe out of fear, maybe for some other reason, it may feel like this inspiration, why didn't it happen a month before? Why is it out of place? You may have that feeling, and that's okay. All paths that we choose to walk are okay. There is no judgment here. But those are the two options you are faced with, and the choice is yours. Either way, follow this inspiration, allow it to illuminate that light again, that spark again within yourself, and follow its source to something new. This will lead you on a path to something new. The very next month we have trust. Here we are in September with trust. This is going to be a continuation of trusting that intuition, that spark, that light that hit you in August. Even if it felt like it was a little too late for the decision that you made in July, it's not too late. It's never too late. Follow the intuition and have trust. Hold steady on the course that it will lead you to the right path. Here we enter the fourth quarter of the year with October, and we have the deer. This is a very gentle, motherly creature. This offers you the love of the divine feminine, the love of all of the goddesses of Mother Earth. This offers you protection and support in the subtlest and most beautiful ways. This allows you to show your soft side, to have an air to breathe again, to have a ground, a solid ground to stand on. This is where things will start to fall into place. November. We have one of the most beautiful cards in your entire reading, the goddess Lakshmi, her golden grace. This card is calling you for one thing and one thing alone. Accept the love and the abundance that is being given to you. Confront your own feelings of unworthiness and allow yourself to receive everything that you desire. This is a light that will be shining upon you, blessings that will be pouring down, and divine love that will be supporting you through everything you have been through. Open yourself up to this. Sit in gratitude. Breathe it in. Finally, we enter into December for the year. And I don't think that we could end a year this intense without a little more intensity. So here it is, the two cards that I did not know were here that came out on their own like this. The storm and the stone. You will be sent through a storm in December of 2023. But if you have learned your lessons well, if you have opened your heart to love and light and grace, this will become a foundation for you to hold on to. Your friends, your family, your inner light, your inner strength. The God or the goddess or whatever you believe in, Mother Earth, Father Time, the support of the universe, the trust in yourself. This will be the stone that holds you through the storm. You will still have to endure the storm. The storm is inevitable. But hold to the foundation you have made and hold to the inner light to see you through it. Thank you, File 2. This was a very, very powerful reading and a very intense year ahead for you. If you would like more details about each individual month, I am offering for the first time a more detailed view of this, and I will provide a link below for if that is something that interests you. If not, I do encourage you to reference back to this as we do each month's reading for the year. I will do an introduction to each month's reading for the year, and you can use that with the tarot cards to draw back to this on the main themes. As we dig into some of the smaller details of each month, you can refer back to this video, hopefully to get a little bit more clarity along your path. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again. Good luck, Pile 2, and I look forward to seeing this amazing transformation that you walk through. And please, especially if you're viewing this throughout the year, let me know as much as you can, as much as you are able, with how this has been able to resonate for you, and the changes, the decisions that you have had to face, what you have been able to make, the growth you have been able to overcome. Thank you, Pile 2. All right, Pile 3. It is always interesting to me to see the similarities and differences that can come across between each of these piles. And your pile really does have a unique energy to it, Pile 3. It's really a different pattern than what we've been seeing, which is very exciting. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is January. January is represented by the archetype card of the One. What this means, the One represents the wholeness, the connectivity, the universal truths throughout everything in existence. The One represents the way that we are all the same, the way that we are all connected, every conscious thing in the universe. When you draw the card of the One, you are experiencing some sort of deep truth at whatever level you are at. Everything, all learning happens in layers. But this signifies a deep truth that is showing you the truth of the universe, the truth of your place in it, the truth of the way that you connect with others, the way that we all have similarities, that in so many ways we are all the same, how we all come together. You really are reaching a greater level of understanding to life. It's a leveling up phase through January that is going to be very beautiful for you. Going into February. February is the fox. It's slyness and wisdom. It can have a very shrewd business sense in being able to put together the pieces and make things happen. And it's also a very relational card. So basically what we're seeing is that this is a very introspective time through January. Regardless of what you're doing on the outside, you are learning deep lessons and having deep experiences on the inside. In February, this is more of an external card. You are perhaps using this newly gained insight to relate, to see how you relate to the people in your life, to better recognize the people in your life that are worth holding a deep and valued connection to. And also, you may have been given some sparks of inspiration, of ideas on the way you want your world to look, especially when it comes to things like business, when it comes to things like society and your place in the world, really when it comes to anything that you want to make happen, any will that you want to manifest in your world. The fox energy gives you the wisdom to see a pathway to create that. So this is a really beautiful and positive start to the year. I would say, Pile 3, this is definitely one of those years to, make those New Year's intentions, to take some time to reflect and set upon your goals and really continue to take viable action on them into the future, especially if you're the type of personality that benefits from an organized way of doing things like that, that's definitely going to be something that really, really works well with the energy that you're going to be presented this year. Then we come into March. March here. The Lady Alfreda, Justice will prevail. This is a Dragon Fae card. And these cards represent powerful external energies that are coming in to help us. Lady Alfreda can be about shadow work, but she is most closely connected to karma. And not necessarily karma in the sense of, good and bad, right and wrong, judgment type of karma. Instead, we're talking about a more universal way of learning the truths of the world, learning how we interact with the world, learning that it's just the nature of the universe that what we put out comes back to us. And it's not meant as a system of punishment and reward. This card helps us to see beyond that. It helps us to see a more universal, deeper truth, that it's all just meant as lessons of teaching, as layers of growth. So you're going to be tapping into that in March. You're going to be tapping into that. You're going to be seeing how your own decisions affect others. You're going to be seeing how other people's decisions affect you. You're going to be seeing the web of how it all ties together, gaining a greater level of insight to it, but also there's more of a deep inner transformation that happens here that has to do with forgiveness. Forgiveness is going to be a key word, and it's going to be forgiveness of others and forgiveness of yourself. There's an understanding here that we are all human, and it kind of ties in together with this revelation from January, with this deep understanding and sense of connection. Then you're moving out, making actions in the practical world, and you're kind of circling back to it in March, to a more introspective phase where you're realizing the truths that you were connecting to, how they relate to your everyday experiences. You're bridging that gap and bringing them into a more practical sense, which is a really great first quarter of the year. Moving into the second quarter. So in April, we have the Beaver. This is a busy month. It's a month of activity. It's a month of growth. It's a month of taking all of these things that you've learned, some of the plans that you've made back in February, and the lessons that you've learned all throughout the year so far. It's putting in the work. It's not being afraid to assert your will on the universe. It's the nature of all things that are living on this earth to create change, to affect what's around them. And hopefully that's for the good. Hopefully it's for the good. But don't be afraid to build what you are called to build in this earth. Because April is going to be the time that you really need to put forward your energy towards that. Now, in May, we have the wolf with the hunger moon. The warning here is not to want too much. Not to allow that drive, that build, that growth, that change that you're creating in the world to become a hunger that devours, to assert too much will onto other people. It also connects, again, with this fox, with making sure that you maintain those connections, that the connections you build and maintain are so important. During this month, so during May, this is a month, especially when we're looking at the whole wheel of this, where you may begin to encounter some difficulties. There's going to be some setbacks to what you build, and you're going to have to use a lot of discernment to decide where do you push through and where do you back off. What is the right level? And all of that has to do with asserting your will and finding balance. Now, however you navigate that, that is perfectly fine. That's going to depend on where you are at in your level of growth And there are no wrong answers. It's just going to be a matter of navigating it as best you can. And there's a promise here in June. Wrapping this up, even though this will be a difficult month, a little bit of a difficult month in May. In June, we have the black mulberry with wholeness. Things are going to become better connected. You're going to see the fruits of the labor that you put in, especially in this month. So especially in April, the fruits of the labor you put in that you may have been struggling with a little bit through May, you're going to see the return of that in June. Those connections that you've been building, especially in February and May, you're going to reap the rewards from those connections, those important connections you've been building. So this is a month of promise. Now we're moving into the second half of the year. So in the second half of the year, we have Siribala for July. This is a Kali card, but it is a divine child card as well. And notice that it is a divine feminine child card. So this represents innocence and intuition, along with power and strength, but most importantly, innocence and intuition. So this is going to be a gentle month of stepping back, of withdrawing within, of looking at your own inner child. This may be a time of inner child healing work. This may be taking a look at everything you've done and created so far and seeing what's really important to you, what really fits in, what really resonates with your heart, and what you want to continue to pour your light into. Really beautiful reading overall so far. We're moving into August now with productivity. So this is, again, you've got yet another card. You've got several harvest cards throughout this year. So you're going to be putting the work in. We see both internally and externally, back and forth, where you're putting the work in this year, and you need to be doing that. It's so important that you do that. But you're going to reap the rewards of it. And August is going to be a month of productivity where you're doing a lot, but you're also seeing a lot, especially if you follow those little bits and changes in inspiration that you saw in July, that you picked up on in July. Those are going to carry through into August. Those are going to fuel your productivity and your growth. Now, when we get to September, September is going to be another month where you are going to run into a little bit of a challenge. You are going to be faced with challenges, and you are going to be called towards resilience. Resilience is the name of this card for September. You will get through the challenges, you will overcome them, but you're going to have to use all of your resources to do so. So there's a reason that you've been learning and building. You've been looking within and without, back and forth all year long so far, because that is going to be providing you the toolkit to get through those challenges that you are met with here in September. After that, we move into the final quarter of the year. We have one more card of abundance, of harvest. This is affection with the herb sorrel. This shows bringing us out of this stage of resilience. This shows help from another. This shows love, affection, care. This shows someone coming in and being a stable and supportive force in your life. And it could be a community of people that are showing support and stability for you. There are going to be ideas coming in from other people at this time. This is going to be in October. And these may help you solve, if you stop, you pause, you really listen to some of the ideas and the assistance that's coming in. These may help you solve some of those problems that arise in September, to help you create a better way forward. Moving into November. This card right here, I wanted to pull something up with it. Self-esteem. This card right here is renewing your self-esteem and your self-awareness. You've gone through this great journey all year long. You've been met with some resistance, some resilience that you've had to come through, and you've been connecting with other people throughout the year. In many points throughout the year, we're showing that connection with other people and how important that is. But this is going to be learning the difference, learning to value your own self, your own opinions, your own self-worth. This is going to be bringing out the greatest parts of yourself, and not being afraid to bring that into the world. It's going to be a very, very powerful month. This is a Kali card. It brings very, very powerful energy of your highest, your best, your most passionate self, and being unafraid to bring your passions into the world. And that brings us to the last month of December, and December is where you had two cards come out. So out of all these things, out of all of what's happening this month, December is going to feel like the most. December of 2023. And we have two very important cards here. We have Change with the Thunder Moon, and we have Acceptance with pink calcite. So change and acceptance are going to have to go hand in hand in December. There's the change that happens in December you probably won't be able to anticipate. It's going to be like the Tower card, but it is going to be for the best. It's going to be initiated by this self-realization, by this beautiful, powerful shining of yourself that begins to come through in November. There's going to be change that's created by it. It won't always be easy, but the message, the clear message and the way through it is acceptance. That this change that hits you, no matter how rough and thunderous it feels, it is for the best. And to let yourself flow with the tides of change that are happening as you move into the next new year at that point. Thank you so much for joining me today, Pile 3, for this reading. It looks like you have a really abundant, productive year ahead of you, with lots of points of inner growth and outer growth. I'm really excited to see how this all plays out for you, what this is able to create in your life. So please, especially if you're referring back to this as we go through the year, share in the comments with me if you can, how this is hitting you, how this is resonating. And if you would like to look into the extended forecast that's going to dive a little bit deeper into each and every month. This is the first time that I'm offering an extended forecast, and the links for that will be down below. So thank you so much for joining me here today, Pile 3, and I wish you the best going into this amazing new year. Thank you.